This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Well, I'm Tom Willis, and I'm the owner of T&O Farms. We participated in the Governor's Water Technology Farm program this year, and so far the results have been fairly promising. We put in 4 drip irrigation systems. We wanted to compare alfalfa, we wanted to compare sorghum, as well as soybeans. We're still waiting to get the results from our sorghum fields in, but initial results on the soybeans were very, very favorable. We cut 80 bushel beans, which in and of itself may not seem like much, but we did it on a 160,000 population, which is about 25 to 30,000 less than other people plant. So we're very, very happy with that. Very happy with the root development that we saw with being able to put the fertilizer right through the drip system. We saw probably 10 to 12 inches deeper root development using the drip system, and as well as we used about 25% less fertilizer. We ordered all of our fertilizer, and at the end of the year we still had quite a bit of it left. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that you have very little evaporation, very little wind, and it's directly placed right on top of the plant. So those are the 3 things, very positives that we saw from the first year. The other thing that we saw, which is kind of ancillary, is a reduction in the amount of maintenance that we had to do on our pivots. With the drip system, you have very little mud for the pivot tires to go through, and it's a lot easier on it. And that's a real cost, because at the end of the day, it's about reducing water, but it's can we reduce water and make the same amount of money? If we can use less seed, if I can pump less, and that was one thing that we noticed this year as well. But we did shut our sprinklers off, and I got this from the State Water Commission a full 10 days earlier than our neighbors did. They had the same rain we had, they grew the same crops we did, and we were able to shut ours off earlier. A couple of things we're going to do different next year is we are going to combine the drip system with a traditional nozzle system on the same field. That will give us a chance to be able to measure in real time head-on-head comparison. That's going to be one thing that I want to do. The second thing I think as we look at it is to see if we can cut back on the amount of moisture. I want to actually say, okay, instead of this year we cut 50 gallons a minute, can we cut down to 60 or 75 and kind of see where that system goes. The moisture probes, we're going to use more of them this year, and probably try to, last year was the first year in using them, trying to figure out exactly what they were telling us, where we need to locate them in the field. But I really think instead of doing 2 per field, we may look at doing 4 per field, so we get a real good knowledge of what those probes are trying to tell us. Because they can tell you about root development, they can tell you about how deep your water is, what your saturation is, and even though you might think visually you need to add water, we found a lot of times that the probes were saying, no, you really don't need to. So I think more probes will be the next thing that will go. One of the other things that we're working on, and I don't know that we'll have this ready for this year, we hope to, is the ability to be able to use the probes to time to our sprinklers to be able to speed them up at night, slow the sprinklers up in the day, depending on the evaporative transfer rate that we have, and in accordance with where those probes say the water needs to be. That would be huge because at nighttime, obviously, you have less evaporation, but your sprinklers also pump heavier. Your irrigation motor pumps a little faster, you put more water on. So if we can automatically speed that up and have everything timed and coordinated with the moisture probe, we're going to be able to get the exact amount of water we need, and I think it'll be a water savings. So we're working with some IT people, technology people, trying to develop that, but I would like to be able to roll that out on at least 1 or 2 fields next year. All in all, for the first year, we're very pleased. There's still a lot of things we need to know, still a lot of research that needs to be done, but so far so good.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.